Okay, shiny new package has arrived from China. Cybrei cranks in a 165 length. So let's see what these weigh. That's that one. That one with the adjuster, 306 grams, not too shabby. With the spider and lock ring, 352. Some chainring bolts, 361. This time I went for the aluminium chainrings because they're only a few grams heavier and they should be quieter. The carbon one that I have been using, where are we? Let's show you that. That one there is actually a carbon and alloy sandwich, and it kind of makes a bit of noise. It's a little bit noisy, so let's just see what these are. So what's that, like 30 grams for the inner ring, and this is probably about 90, I think. 516 grams for the whole lot. Pretty good. So here we are in the central port of Palma. That's actually one of my mate's boats. He works on that. Doesn't own it, works on it. And we provide the anodes for that, of course. So this is the subject of this video. This is the new Cybrei carbon crankset, and I have gone shorter to 165. So I mean, actually it's a long story. I posted a video like 8 years ago talking about how it made sense to go shorter, and I put a few calculations on there about the leverage and ratios and all that sort of thing. And I wish I'd actually listened more to my own advice, because at that point I went from 72.5 to 170, and then a few years later I dropped, well, many years later I dropped to 167.5, felt very good, and now I've taken it a step further and gone 165. I'm 174, by the way, with relatively short legs, so maybe I could have gone to 160. I mean, that's what the Vingegaard, as my Danish wife tries to get me to pronounce it correctly, that's what he's riding, is 160, so maybe I'll go 160s at some point. But I like doing things in stages, so here we are with the 165s, and I've ridden, I guess, about 200k on these now, and I put the seat up by 2.5 mil. It all feels totally natural, totally good, no issues whatsoever. In terms of power differences or anything like that, I can't say at this point. I mean, for sure it's easier to spin, it has to be, from a completely mathematical point of view, it's easier to spin. I firmly believe that it's also easier to push harder for longer because your foot is closer to your body. And I'm just all in. It's all benefits as far as I'm concerned. So the crankset itself comes from China. If you're lucky, you don't get charged any import duty or tax on it. And you can see here that I've gone for these aluminium chain rings this time, 52, 36, exactly the same as before. The carbon ones are actually not really hardly any lighter, and they're noisy because it's a carbon and alu sandwich on the back, so it acts a little bit like a drum. And these ones are definitely much quieter, so that's good. And I think they look pretty funky. Was the carbon one more aero because it filled all this part? Maybe a little bit, but the noise, if it didn't keep the chain well oiled, and waxing was not, it doesn't work, so it had to be well oiled, and it was quite noisy, so that was an issue. And so the weight of this crankset, as you see here, 513, pretty good. A little bit lighter, I guess, because it's slightly shorter cranks. You don't lose anything there with the alu chain rings, so I think that's the way to go. This is the dub 29mm spindle, so if you're running SRAM, it's a straight swap. This is an aluminium spindle, slightly lighter than the new spindle they brought out, a 24mm Shimano standard spindle. That's in titanium. A little bit more expensive, a little bit heavier, but if you're running Dura Race, do yourself a favor, get rid of it and put one of these in with a 24mm tie spindle. It looks a lot nicer, you'll lose a lot of weight, and yeah, why not? Treat yourself. So in terms of longevity, how did the old crankset do? I'll put up some pictures in a sec. Pretty good. Some mild marking on the axle, but nothing really to worry about. I think the left-hand side bearing was on its way out. It felt a little bit rough, and there was a little bit of noise occasionally from the crankset. I wasn't sure if it's coming from the back wheel or somewhere else, but I think it was the crankset, because now that noise has disappeared. So that was a good 20,000 kilometers that the BB and the crankset did without any major issues. The bearing would probably need changing. I put in a new bottom bracket when I installed this, so everything's fresh and good. This actually has no spacers whatsoever, because the adjustable one takes up everything I need, and that's fine. There's no play, the chain line's good, and yeah, these are the new power pedals from Ferrero, which I just done a video on those. They're excellent, working well, and yeah, all good really. Even though I'm getting older, 54, I still seem to be getting PRs, which is good. Not what I was expecting. So hopefully this is all helping. Tech helps. It's worth tuning your bike, and then you can keep up with the young guns a little bit longer. Oh yeah, and just a final thing. When I put in the first crankset a year and a half ago, there was a bit of debate because I decided to leave out the internal sleeve. I didn't think it really was necessary. So in fact, the rear brake hose did touch occasionally, very slightly, the axle. It's had a very minor scuff on the rear brake cable, nothing absolutely to worry about, and you can see a tiny mark on the axle where it's touched there as well, but it's all good. It's done 20,000. I think it could do 100,000 before there was any issue whatsoever, but just to be on the safe side, I have put a sleeve in this time, and I've drilled it as well, so that's 9 grams, which I can live with.